Greetings. My name is Raul Mendez, and I representing the Academy for John Hanley, PhD, and I'm going to be sharing to you a little bit about Rene Descarte, who actually influenced the world and our way of thinking, known as modern psychology. So we have been pondering about our philosophy of life, about who we are, what defines us, even our thinking to our language, how we think we use it, but it's actually using us. Rene Descartes was a very smart man. He actually did something that very few have done, and that's just empty their mind. Just proof that what you know, it's really what you know, in other case what we call as truth or as evident. So Rene Descartes emptied out all his thoughts of the things that he knew, just like an apple, because an apple of anything with a blemish to around an apple can actually but spoil the other apples. So what did he do? He emptied his mind like a basket, and just from there started picking what were the right ones for him, until he came up with the one apple that was perfect for him, rather than putting the apples that he wanted, into a basket. He just chose the one. So he ended up doing that and came up with an amazing quote that actually has served humanity until today. Thinking, wait, if I doubt everything, even these apples, doubting my thoughts, then therefore I am a thinking being, coming up with cogito or cogito ergo sum, meaning thinking being. That's a powerful tool as it is, but nevertheless, for what reasons? Well, one of them was to doubt everything. As a skeptic, he decided to doubt all the things, and therefore, one of our greatest hit movies, Neo, doubts everything. He came into this world, he was thrown into the world, not knowing where and why, but nevertheless being fed. And then he was wondering, in this case, Descartes was wondering, wait, these thoughts, this language, where's it come from? It's using me. I can't really produce my own thoughts. But then again, when he started doubting everything, he started realizing, wait, I'm in control of these thoughts. Separating his mind from his body, and that caused us to separate from the beings, not just a human being, the physique, but also other beings as rocks and animals and plants. He started separating everything, and he came out with an amazing quote, an amazing thing called cause, that he didn't really produce himself. It actually came from a scholastic term from Plato and Aristotle, who said that cause and effects are real and just run simultaneously. But Descartes, didn't really believe that he wanted to prove for his own self. So he came up with cause and effect. It didn't really resonate with someone, but because the math wasn't there, he wanted to prove that everything was math driven, including our own problems. All we had to do is just simplify it, and then from there break it down to little pieces, and then build up from it. So it goes back into the apples, the basket of apples. So this law, the cause and effect, has helped us regenerate a life that it's really rich and fulfilled, from planes landing, taking off, to going to space, and including just driving your vehicle is based on a formula Isaac Newton drew out of a simple math, not simple, but complex, called calculus. Why? Because he was trying to prove the one thing that Rene Descartes couldn't prove, and it was not just laws of nature or physics, but it was definitely the law of gravity, which Rene Descartes, he in his meditation said that anything that he can't prove right now, he will discard, because it's up to God. In this case, a dualism term, what man can do for thinking, from thinking being, they can solve issues, they can do things, breaking things down, and actually have evidence of things. And it was up to man to solve those things, mysteries, and whatever other mysteries from God, they just left it in a basket, the uncertainty term that we call, in which, God, we have our own domain and God has his domain, and as time goes on, more scientists, neuroscientists especially, they try to prove away from the existence of God into what Rene Descarte tried to go more into the thinking being rather than just like accepting what things are. So what ended up happening is that based on the cause, we have other laws that come with it, not just law of gravity, but the mustness. Mustness is a law of past experience. We say law, but it's based on our past experience. When we say we must do this, I've done this, we must. The mustness is something from a past experience. It's a cause. It's a cause from something. So we used it into what the communication we want to use. So going off from that, Descartes had a different law of being. He had one of the great, for me, doubt everything. So how do we know these things? One of them is that what we know is what we know. That's something that's we develop based on our experience or based on someone else or whatever the case may be. It's just evidence. Another one is what we don't know, evident that we don't know. In this case, it's like, I don't know how to fly a plane or a helicopter, great. So we can't discard it because it's evident as true, as real. But this is where he kind of considers this as false, as not not real, not evident, etc. And that's what the principle of quantum transformation we base it off on, that what we don't know, that we don't know. It's the law of uncertainty, and yet this law of uncertainty has driven a lot of science to actually dig into that realm now more than ever. But yet a lot of people now, like I said, the philosophy or the psychology of people is that if I can't prove it, then it's not real. At least it's not real to the person. But they don't see it that way. It's just, it's not real, period, to humanity, to people. But nevertheless, it can be proved, but it's going to take a lot of work, like my man Sisyphus, who actually keep working on it and just keep going. And you maybe don't know why, and it's okay. But definitely, once we, that needs to happen, it's because we need to go to the fundamentals of our humanity. In this case, what we call the breakdown. Once we go to the breakdown, we can definitely go to the breakthroughs. In this case, maybe it's just one apple, just grabbing all apples, just, eating the one that's kind of bad. Just get it out of the way. But that's when the senseless of, that's exactly where I'm coming from. Of just eat the one that looks kind of rotten and start from there. Maybe it's not rotten, it's just a little blemish. And if it is, just throw it away and let it decompose. But Descartes' claim is that it is impossible to know anything at all. And maybe I do agree with him. And that's what we need to look at next. What we know. We just gotta let it go, just like he did. Because we based on a rationalist term, from reason. There's a reason. Everything that we talk about or that we know, it's based on reason, and reason is something personal, but yet it is part of our senses. Sometimes we see things that we don't see. We hear sounds. We feel things, kind of like the cup in the water. Kind of like the water that you put a straw in there and then it just breaks apart. It's an illusion, meaning that our senses also lie to us, and therefore reason can too. But it's more probable that we can actually fact check it and just go off and on and just say, what, this is self-evident. But again, it just goes into a law of probability, which is another math terminology. But nevertheless, it's something fun that we should be looking at rather than as truth. Because as we say in quantum transformation, there's no such thing as truth, or we don't base our work on truth, absolute truth at least, but definitely in evidence. So a result equals to a result, but a result is not equal to a no result with a good story. And that's what most people, at least most of us, try to prove, is just a no result with a good story. So in a few minutes, I was happy to share with you about Descartes and his contribution to humanity, the cause, the philosophy, separation between philosophy, science, the psychology, and most importantly, that we must prove everything. So thank you again, and I look forward to hearing from you.